So we brought a group of kids, our Chesapeake Bay Fellows this week, along with Upstream Alliance, to spend the week with Dawn and Erica, exploring the Delaware and the Hudson rivers. The thing we were trying to show kids was, one, what the role is that rivers play in the health of our waterways and our bays. And second, we studied these two rivers in particular because both of them were very heavily industrialized, starting in the 19th century and lasting until well into the 20th century. Unfortunately, the legacy of that industrialization has been river degradation, water degradation, to the point where people are avoiding these waters. People have learned to stay away. They think these waters are unsafe. We conducted plenty of research along the way, looking for fish and testing the water for bacteria, and we actually found out that these rivers are much cleaner than people know.
So when we approached this expedition, the big question was, all these waters swimmable and fishable, these waters being the Delaware and the Hudson River. So the Clean Water Act was an act put in place to make all waters swimmable by the 1980s, which carried out really well in the Chesapeake Bay because we're all able to swim and have fun in the water, but places like the Delaware and up north in rivers and the Hudson, people really are hesitant to swim because of just rumors and things they've heard about the water being unclean and unsafe to swim in.
Today is August 1st, 10:45 a.m. We are currently at Gateway Park, and they are proposing a new public water access at this location. So we want to see if it's safe for swimmers, paddlers, fishers. So here we go, testing the bacteria.
Each time we kayak, we would stop at different test points and test the water quality for E. coli. And we would take a stick, and we had a little tube, and we'd dump it in the water, about a meter deep. And then we'd rush it off to the lab to get it tested and see if it is below the standard. So that would see if it's swimmable or not. And then we would also seine at different test points. We had a 100-foot seine, and we would bring it across the water and see how much fish we would catch at each of these test points. And we had a handful of species, such as American shad, mummy chug. We had a few sunfish, a few striped bass. So that was interesting to see if these test points were fishable.
Continuing data like this, pulling seine nets, proving that the fish are here, will get people back out on the water, get people fishing again, because it's important to the waterways that people start caring. The more people out here fishing, the more people that care about the water, and that would just improve the quality of the water, stuff like that as a whole.
Whoa, look at the striped bass there. That's a big one. Whoa!
The culture of the Delaware and the Hudson has always kind of been that the water is dirty and polluted, and so a lot of people they've decided that it's unsafe to swim in it. And it's really important to look at the data that we've gathered, because it shows how much the rivers have turned around and gotten cleaner, and it shows how much people are now able to swim in it safely and enjoy themselves.
Camden County parks are largely situated around waterways, and because the waters are clean enough to recreate, we are looking to develop more opportunities for people to get out on the water. So we're standing at one of the places that we hope to make access more readily available to people by putting in some floating docks as part of our Cooper River Water Trail.
There's also got to be ways to access the river. There's got to be awareness that this resource is here.
This is my place of clarity. You know, sometimes your brain gets a little rattled from the stresses of the day. I come here, I relax, I look at the view. Most of the time my lady's with me, and it's just like so much better.
The Cooper River was 40% sewage, and they had bacteria levels that were 10 times the levels of fecal coliform bacteria levels, 10 times the level of what would require the beaches to be closed, 10 times that level. We tested the water in the effluent, the river, before we eliminated all the sewage discharges, and then we tested it again a year after we'd eliminated all the sewage. And of course we expected that the water quality would be better. What was amazing was that the bacteria levels dropped by 95 and 99% in 1 year. Now, and as you guys just evidence, that the Cooper River is sort of the jewel of our county.
A lot of what we're talking about through this movement is simply updating what's on the books to reflect our aspirations, both our original aspirations in terms of the vision of the Clean Water Act, but also the aspirations that you guys are kind of demonstrating just by being out on this expedition. That this is a resource. Even in the urban environment, we can have access to nature and wild places that have aesthetic beauty and value for wildlife.
What I found really interesting about this trip is how people were actually kind of afraid of the water in the Delaware and the Hudson, and some people don't even know that it exists. So that was so interesting to me because in Hampton Roads, people recreate on the water, they love the water, and it's basically what makes Virginia Beach and the surrounding areas what it is. So going to a place where people are stay away from it, it was definitely an eye-opener.
The most important thing is to protect the river as an end in itself, because it's from the environmental perspective. But the best way to do this is to get people to believe in it, and the way to do that is to do what you and Erica and others are doing in awe, is to get people on the river, so then they'll value it more.
One of the great things I learned about this trip was how caring people can be about the bay and the river, and just how thoughtful everyone can be, and making sure they take care of it and spending time for it, and doing everything they can to make sure that it's there for the future generations.
Along the Delaware River and the Hudson River, if thousands of people came out every day and had fun on the water, then it would just create a newfound support and another way of community connection along the rivers. And if you started people at a young age now, then they would just grow up and teach their friends and even their kids and their grandkids to love and support the waterways, just like we support the Chesapeake Bay.
We really need to find a way to turn the public's perception around to use the water to its full extent.
Coming home from this trip, I really want to make a change or make a difference, try to make a change and difference. More public awareness and try and help clean and save the water so that more people can have the experience that I had growing up, because it really is something truly amazing to be able to swim and fish in the water. It's not just something that is nice to have, it's a right.